Welcome back, everybody. I'm Alan Taylor, and here we are at the Pioneering Performance SEMA live stage. We have a couple of guys that are just so special. We have a legendary car designer, Peter Brock, right here. Peter, welcome to the show.
Let's give it up for Peter
Brock.
Brock.
First of all,
hey,
one at a time, you guys, right?
That's
Thank
incredible.
you. And professional race car driver that, I mean, in the day that he broke the records, this is when things were really raw. Craig Breedlove. And man, I've heard so much about you, Craig.
Craig, come on.
Such a pleasure,
Yes.
right? Give it up for him there. Thank you.
Thank you.
These guys are a big part of that pioneering performance.
Totally,
I
absolutely.
mean, thanks to you guys, we can actually sit up here.
Just to give you a little bit of facts. At age 19, Brock became the youngest designer ever hired by General Motors Design Department.
Yep, just from sketching cars in study hall, get to go to work at General Motors.
Unbelievable.
Doesn't get any better than that.
Well, and then there's Craig Breedlove, first person in history to reach 500 miles an hour and 600 miles an hour. You guys haven't been together with that car right over here, right?
This is the first time that Craig and I have been together with the car. So,
50 years?
oh, God, it's 50 years ago. Really.
It's like wild, right? What a reunion. Talk about what that was like.
Well, Pete, we brought the car up right after we ran 608 final run with Spirit of America.
Yeah.
And we knew that Art was coming back, and so we had to occupy the salt timer. They would take it away from us, and knowing Art, why he's going to take our record as soon as he gets back on.
Yeah.
They called Carol Shelby, and Carol sent Tom up with the Cobra Daytona that's on display in the Pennzoil booth right over here. And we hadn't seen the car yet. That was the first time I saw it. Tom was busy, the mechanic, taking off all of the spoilers, mirrors, and everything to clean it up so it would go really fast. And got that accomplished. And my co-driver was Bobby Tatro, who's a sprint car driver when he's not at Bonneville, and he was hired to drive the Wingfoot Express rocket car. So that's the reason he was on the salt. Bobby got the first turn in the car on the straightaway to test it with all the aerodynamic impingements removed from it. So
I'll bet it was squirrely.
off it went, with no spoilers, no mirrors, and real clean. And Bobby immediately spun it out in the lights. Mine was the next turn with the car, and I knew we had some kind of an evil problem because of us dirt sprint car drivers having trouble gathering that thing up. I better watch my P's and Q's. And so I made 2 runs in it right at 168, but I mean, I had to feather it and really, really watch it. And so got back, and I told Tom, I said, boy, this thing is evil. You can't open it up because you're going to lose it every time I try to get in it, why it wants to come around. So he said, well, let me try it. So the mechanic gets back in the car now, and he makes a run, and we get, up 3rd gear, 4th gear, and whoop, engine comes off. He pulls out of the track, comes back to the pit area, and immediately says, we got to put the spoiler back on this thing.
We need a little aero package on that baby.
Right. So anyway, this was my first exposure to a spoiler, and this was in Peter's design, and they had incorporated it after the car had run a few races. And so the spoiler gets pop riveted back on, and then it was my turn in the barrel again. So I hop back in the thing and immediately run it up to 178, and no problem at all. So the following day, we went about our business to occupy the salt flats, and in the process, Bobby and I drove it in shifts, about an hour and a half apiece, and we set 23 national and international world speed records with the car, and that was with pumping the 35 gallons of gas in it out of a barrel between tankfuls. So we were pretty happy with it. It's quite a remarkable car. It was really fun to drive.
How old were you when you did that?
26 at the time.
So a couple of young guys
Yeah.
out there. I mean, you guys have lived the American dream, and now you're part of our American history and heritage. Peter Brock, what is your most proud accomplishment in life?
There's so many things I've worked on that I've loved, and I just do them all I'm passionate, love whatever thing I'm working on at the time. But the Daytona was something really special.
One of my favorite
And
cars.
I didn't invent the idea. The thing is that I discovered some papers that were written in 1934 and developed by the Germans in late 1939. And that gave me the idea for designing the car. I used those lines, and there was so much resistance to the idea because at that time, everybody believed that automobiles should be shaped with a perfect, teardrop shape in it. And the whole idea of doing this flat roof with a chopped off tail looked so foreign, and there was just so much resistance to it that we almost didn't get the car built because there was so much resistance. But luckily, our test driver, Ken Miles, believed in the project, and we built it, and he immediately broke the lap record with the car at Riverside. And from that point on, the whole idea of aerodynamics in cars changed completely. So that car was a real breakthrough. It was one of the last cars that was designed really on the garage floor by the mechanics and the guys that built it. And then it went from there to the GT40, which is all designed on a computer. So it was a transition in design.
That's the beauty of it.
It's
Thank you.
timeless.
Thank you for that beautiful design and all the ones you've done. Thank you very much. Craig Breedlove, your greatest accomplishment, would you say?
Oh, probably the 600 mile an hour speed record, and we tried it again, and I got blown over on my side at 685 trying to bring the record back. And,
Wow.
So we're building a new car now, and
It's just going to keep on going.
Wait.
aren't you?
You got to touch on that for a minute. I mean, I got blown over at 685.
Yeah.
Like, that's a normal thing. How was that?
it was terrible.
Well, the way you said it was so calming, like it was just normal. Yeah,
Okay,
it's
what
kinda-
words came out of your mouth that you can say when it was happening? Oh,
Yes.
yes.
Hang on.
I love it. Craig Breedlove, Peter Brock, thank you guys. Truly pioneering performance here on the Shell stage.
Thank you, guys.